Welcome back to episode 92 of Winning the Division. I am your co-host, Ryan Smith, alongside former NFL tight end Ben Troupe, formerly played his NFL ball for the Bucks, for the Titans, and the Raiders. Ben, it is NFL Combine week has come and gone, and the offseason, that means, is officially underway. We'll get things started with our first segment here, going over the latest headlines, transactions around the league as we get into the offseason that is 2026. I'll give these to you in two, so you won't be as overwhelmed for the headlines. We'll start with Houston Texans. They had multiple trades today. They trade right tackle Titus Howard to the Browns, and they also trade for Lions running back David Montgomery. And in the trade, the Lions get offensive lineman Juice Scruggs and 2 draft picks from the Houston Texans, which we now learn because Graham Glasgow for the Lions did retire today. So that is why that was an offensive lineman going back in the trade for the Lions. So your thoughts on these two trades by the Texans and obviously what they got. And you can obviously talk about the Graham Glasgow retirement as well for the Lions.
I mean, Glasgow retiring for the Lions start when that's going to be huge. I mean, you talk about a guy in the middle of the offensive line that really made things really stout. And, the league is one of those things now, Smitty, we never know when a player is going to decide to move on, whether the team is having success. He's having success. Sometimes guys got to trust their instincts. But both teams, I think, feel the need. You talk about the Lions being able to feel the need of the offensive line, and the running back position was one that was it was subpar at best for the Texans last year. The overall team success didn't really indicate. But, Nick Chubb at one point was getting the bulk of your carries for the Houston Texans last year. Montgomery, him walking away, him and Jahmyr Gibbs, what is it, Sonic and Knuckles? Wasn't that their nickname? I think they might have counted for right around 80-something touchdowns, almost 8,200 yards. They were an incredible duo. Now we're going to see if Jahmyr Gibbs is ready to have that star role to get the bulk of the carries. And, Montgomery definitely goes to a team that's going to be a contender in a division that's very, very winnable on a team that he's going to fill the need. So I think both teams got to fill the need, even though Gasco is going to be some big shoes to fill.
Yeah, and we keep right on going with the Commanders releasing Marshawn Lattimore, formerly of the New Orleans Saints. They cut him today, and the Chiefs decided to cut former Florida Gator, their right tackle, Jawan Taylor, saving $20 million in their cap space.
It's all about the cap. It's something I'll be talking to you about. These casualties, they used to call them camp casualties, but they're trying to get rid of some of this money. I want to say Marshawn Lattimore was older. I think like 18.5, 19.5 million or something like that. Jawan Taylor had an okay year a couple of years ago. Coming over from the Jacksonville Jaguars, made some really good money, won some Super Bowls with the Kansas City Chiefs. Marshawn Lattimore is going to be highly sought after. This guy can still play the cornerback position. He's still got some really good years left in him. Then it's going to be who gets him and for what price and what type of scheme does he go to. Jawan Taylor, I think he has a market. You talk about a guy that plays really good at the right tackle position. I don't know how well he's going to play the left tackle position if somebody does bring him over there. But, yeah, I think both guys still land on their feet. But to me, it's like I keep saying, if the young guys on the team look either better than you or they're right there with you as far as like production, I'm going to go with the young guy because the young guy is two things, younger and cheaper. The NFL is always trying to get younger. The NFL is always trying to get cheaper. So Marshawn Lattimore, I don't think he's going to be on the street long. I don't think his $18.5 million a year days, I think those days are behind him. But if he wants to continue his career, somebody will pick him up. And Jawan Taylor, offensive lineman like defensive lineman, you can never have enough. I always want to have guys that are either really good as a starter or really good coming off the bench. I think Jawan Taylor has a market. It's going to come down to what is that price going to be and what type of scheme does he find himself fitting in.
Yeah. And for some of these people, like you said, Jawan Taylor, $20 million over the cap. It's I wouldn't say it's obvious, but it's just like that's a lot of money that these teams can save, and sometimes the player is unfortunately victim to that, even if they are a really good player. Cowboys, their standout second-year pass rusher Donovan Ezeraku, former Boston College standout, has hip surgery, and Bengals are bringing back Dalton Reisner on a 1-year deal.
Yeah, I saw Reisner deal. I mean, I think he's represented by Drew Rosenhaus. As far as like what is it? A DN? Is it a DN for Dallas?
Defensive end Donovan Ezeraku. Yeah.
Yeah. Guys try to go throughout the season, and the quicker they can. Surgery is always the last measure, unless these trainers are saying, "Look, we got to go ahead and do this right now to kind of salvage anything he's going to have for this upcoming season." Right now, the waters are kind of quiet. I mean, I know we talked about Marshawn Lattimore, Jawan Taylor, and different, but right now, David Montgomery going over to go to the Texans. Teams are maneuvering right now, and you're doing two things. I'm trying to see who's going to be out there, Smitty. Like, who's going to be out there that can help us fill a need, and who do we got to get rid of? Because you notice that teams are trying to. They're not releasing guys on the same day. They're kind of letting let those waters kind of cool down, settle. Then we'll let our guys go. Because if you got a guy like Jawan Taylor, like a Marshawn Lattimore, somebody's coming to get them. So. We'll see, but you go ahead and cut them to get that money off the books. So look, we're gonna have to deal with some dead money, or they'll say if you get it off the books by a certain time, you don't have to eat that. But yeah, you start talking about 18 to 22, 23 mil a year, and your production is dipped. They got to make a decision. That this is called the business of the National Football League when the offseason free agency is getting ready to free agency is among us.
The Commanders, they agreed to pay the District of Columbia $1 million to settle their 2022 lawsuit that alleged that the NFL was that they were under previous ownership was colluding to deceive fans, lying about and inquire into a sexual misconduct and a potential hostile work environment. And then the Vikings have said they will be cutting or trading Aaron Jones and Javon Hargrave, running back and defensive tackles, respectively.
$1 million for the situation. For those people that don't know, the toxic environment, the toxic working environment that a lot of those former Washington Redskins, Washington football team employees had to deal with, I think $1 million is not even a slap on the wrist. I think that's laughable. That's more than laughable because I think Dan Snyder, the former owner of the Washington Redskins and Washington football team, I think he got off easy because it was a lot of people in this lawsuit. It was a lot going on. With the Redskins and the Washington football team, and RG3, who was gonna write a book, by the way, but once he went into his media career, that kind of went away, which I have some thoughts about that. I don't like it when they allow these billionaire owners to get away with stuff by throwing money at stuff. If you're gonna throw money at it, should have been more than that. If it's gonna be some type of financial agreement, it should $1 million. Come on, man, $1 million. When he heard that he was gonna like $1 million, man, that shouldn't have even made the news. It did, but to show how ridiculous it is. And now what's the other two you said?
The Vikings are going to be cutting or trading Javon Hargrave and Aaron Jones.
Yeah, Aaron Jones. I mean, I don't know if his days as a starter are still there, but as far as like a quality veteran backup or veteran, presence and leadership on the team, yeah. And Hargrave, we'll see what happened with him. But I just think for a guy like Aaron Jones, who came up from the Green Bay Packers, who had, once again, I think you wasted that guy's talent when J.J. McCartney really made it so that people like him and Jordan Addison and Justin Jefferson and T.J. Hockenson, those guys you didn't get the best out of those guys. But just like I said, if David Montgomery is already gone to be a Houston Texan, I think that Aaron Jones, you're going to be having to watch the ESPN bottom line. I think somebody's already rubbing their hands together to say, I think we can find a way to use those guys. There's a team in Carolina who I think will definitely get that young man a call.
We will see what happens there. I have not heard anything on that front. 3 trades. I wanted to make sure we got to all of them officially. I know we briefly talked about a couple of them in the headlines, but just so everyone who knows, here are so far the trades that have gone down. Texans get David Montgomery from the Lions, in addition to the Lions getting guard Juice Struggs, a 2026 4th-round pick, 2027 7th-round pick. The Texans get a 2026 5th-round pick, and then Browns get offensive tackle Titus Howard. And then prior to this episode, but after our last recording last week, Jets get defensive tackle Devondre Sweat from Tennessee. The Titans get edge Jermaine Johnson. So those were the 3 trades that went down. Your thoughts on those 3, as a whole?
I remember, I do remember the Sweat situation going to the Jets, and then you got Jermaine Johnson going to the Titans. Here's what I would say about Jermaine Johnson. Jermaine Johnson is real similar to Jalen Phillips, formerly Miami Dolphins, now with the Philadelphia Eagles. They're really, really streaky. These are guys that, when healthy, very disruptive. The problem is they haven't been healthy. The problem is you're talking about former first-round picks who just haven't lived. The former first-round picks they get traded before their rookie deal is up. Either one, the team that drafted them think, I don't want to deal with them. I don't want to put the franchise tag on them. Or maybe they said, I just don't think they got it left in them to be a headliner. To be a headliner at the defensive end, outside linebacker position, we're talking about double-digit sacks. We're talking about Pro Bowls and all pros. The Brian Burns and those type of guys of the world who you want to get big money. Now, does Jermaine Johnson got a shot to go to the Titans and him and Jeffrey Simmons and learn with a guy like that on the inside of him? Yes, we'll see. We'll see. But, I do if Jermaine Johnson wasn't so injury-prone, Smitty, that would have gotten more, headlines. But these big free agents, they finna start coming. They finna start getting released by these teams and getting picked up by their new teams. The David Montgomery, when I saw that, I went, ooh, that's a good pickup. I haven't really seen outside, Jawan Taylor or Marshawn Lattimore getting released. I haven't really seen anybody that's wowed me yet. I know that Max Crosby's name has been floating around about where he might end up. I'm like you, Smitty. I got to see it to believe it. I don't think they finna let Max Crosby leave the building, but I could be wrong because they pay him a lot of money. And Max Crosby's good. Really, really good. One of the best defensive players, the defensive ends in the National Football League, but he's getting paid quarterback money. And I need to see first team all pro production. But until Max Crosby is not a Raider, I have to see it to believe it.
Yeah. And now let's get into some of the stories coming out of the Combine, Ben. We'll kind of just go wherever you want to go, and we'll just kind of bring up different topics, different things we're hearing, and different things around the National Football League and teams. So let's start with quarterback, because why not? Quarterback is the most important position in the NFL, and if you don't have one, you're going to be stuck. So let's go through, Fernando Mendoza. He did not work out. It's the best kept secret. He's going to be going number 1 to the Las Vegas Raiders unless somehow the New York Jets call the Raiders and say, hey, I'll give you like four first rounders for that number 1 pick. And even then, I don't know if the Raiders would do it. But, putting Fernando Mendoza aside, because, we kind of know that's the worst kept secret. He's going to go number 1. What do you think? The guy that fascinates me, and I might be in the minority here, is the guy from Alabama. That would be Ty Simpson. He is someone that I believe will need to go to a place where he cannot play right away. Now, in your world, maybe it's the Rams picking him up and drafting him, and maybe he sits behind Stafford for a year, maybe 2. That he gets to go learn under Sean McVay. So your thoughts on, a guy like Howard Simpson, if you want to talk about Mendoza. And then is there another quarterback that you're thinking of outside those top 2 that aren't really getting discussed? Because you've got guys like Garrett Nussmeier, Cade Klubnik, Cole Payton from North Dakota State, FCS kid. You've got a lot of guys out there in this draft who aren't going to be talked about a lot if they're not named Fernando Mendoza or Ty Simpson, but guys who could maybe be a backup or maybe give a starter, maybe on a lower end team, some run in training camp.
Well, I do like the Ty Simpson pick. I think he's going to go higher than people are projecting him to go. He's going to be a project like most quarterbacks coming into the National Football League. I think now some of these quarterbacks are not. They having to deal with this trend of you draft them high, they play first day. They play as soon as they get off the plane after rookie minicamp, after training camp. Ty Simpson, to me, a place like, if he's gonna be the future starter, Arizona. We talking about a place like the Rams. I mean, Matthew Stafford. I know he announced his. I know he announced that he was coming back after he won the MVP. He don't have. He's in the twilight of his career. Yeah. We talking about a place like Miami, who we don't know what's going to happen with Tua. A place like the Jets. I know everybody's going crazy right now of everything's going on with Jackson Dart with the New York Football Giants. I want to make sure I got a guy behind him that can push him. That kind of stuff is either good for him or it's not. Todd Simpson, just like Jalen Milroe 2 years ago, that came out of, with they're project guys that can play football, but you got to give them a chance to develop. I mean, I hate to say this, but there's a team in Atlanta that really don't have a quarterback. I mean, they really, really don't. And Ty Simpson is going to be very, very intriguing. You mentioned other quarterbacks. I mean, you mentioned Nussmeier, Carson Beck, Drew Allar, Cade Kublik, Lenore Sellers, different guys that's coming out.
Lenore Sellers back in South Carolina. I think.
Okay. I had a feeling. I will say this about the quarterback position, and I'm gonna start with Fernando Mendoza. It's some very slim pickings because I believe that they're just settling for, even though he's gonna be number one on our pick is Fernando, but he's gonna be the biggest project because he's a good player. He won the Heisman, went undefeated, won the national championship. But Smitty, the thing about him is this. People talk about the moxie. People talk about the IQ. People talk about the competitiveness. People talk about the accuracy. Yeah. But he was on a team that the average age was 23 years old. So Indiana's team was, depending on who was the youngest team in the NFL, they probably was older than the youngest team in the NFL. And that type of leadership, I am not blaming Fernando. Yeah. But he's going to the Raiders. The Raiders, playing quarterback for the Raiders is not that much different than playing quarterback for the Browns or the Jets or the Cardinals. It's not that much. It might be worse because the guy that we haven't talked about is Geno Smith. People saying, man, he got held back. Pete Carroll, you one and done. Now you starting all over. But I am looking to see where Todd Simpson goes. I'm looking to see where some of these other quarterbacks go because nobody lived up to the billing, right? Going into last year, it was Nussmeier, it was Cade Kublik, it was supposed to be DJ Lagway, it was supposed to be Arch Manning. Nobody saw Fernando Mendoza being the freaking headliner. And not only is he the headliner, he was the best of all of them. So I will be intrigued by it. Carson Beck is one to watch too because, I mean, he did it at two schools, won the SEC championship with the Georgia Bulldogs, came up a game short to win a national championship, never won an ACC championship in Miami, so he definitely kept that tradition going because they've never won the ACC, but that's another show for another day. But Smitty, just like I know, when the quarterbacks aren't the headliners of a draft, it's not that it's going to be a bad draft because I think you got a lot of players, but the quarterbacks make it easy because what they're going to do, Fernando Mendoza is a household name. He did it all last year with Indiana, his teammates. I mean, but Kurt Signetti and everything they did. Who is a name, and I'm not asking you to give me one, but this is what's going to happen. Between now and the draft, they're going to start saying certain guys' names so much that by the time they get drafted, people are going to forget less about what they did in college and more about, because they watching them more. That's kind of what they do. When they don't really have a guy, keep saying his name over and over and over and over and over again. That way, when they call his name, in the first round, because I do think you end up having about, 3, maybe 4 quarterbacks going the first one. Yes, you're going to be overdrafting some of these guys. But that has more to do with how bad quarterback play is in the NFL and less to do with some of these guys coming out. We'll see who goes higher than we thought. But I do think Todd Simpson is the second quarterback that comes off the board after Fernando Mendoza. And yes, Lenore Sellers did decide to come back. I forgot all about it. Yes, he's coming back to South Carolina. I don't know what he's going to do, saying they're going to make the college football playoff. Him and Shane Beamer, but that's gonna be more talking points. We'll see if that happens, though.
Yeah, I can't believe I forgot about Carson Beck there. He's a polarizing guy, not necessarily because of his play on the field, but he's had some injuries. He's been in college a long time, and that experience, as we know, is good in the NFL. Guys like Jaden Daniels, guys like Caleb Williams have that experience.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens there. It'd be very intriguing to see who drafts a guy like Carson Beck. Let's go to some other positions. These are just players that I know are well thought of around the draft, and you just give me kind of your, 30-second, 90-second take on these guys. The two players that a lot of people are saying might be the best in this draft in running back Jeremiah Love of Notre Dame, safety Caleb Downs from Ohio State University.
Oh yes.
And his teammate, Sonny Styles, linebacker, who all of a sudden was mocked to the Panthers at 19, and now that ship has sailed, man. That he's going top 10 at this point. And then who's the guy that I'm trying to think of? And then I had a third guy on my mind. Just a second. The pass rushers from Miami, Akeem Mesidor, who has the age factor at 25,
and Bain.
Ruben Bain, who has the shorter arms. So you're talking those are kind of the 5 prospects that people are kind of honing in on as we get towards.
And the linebacker from Ohio is Sonny Lorenzo. That's the brother. That's the safety. You take Lorenzo is the one. Okay, Jeremiah Love is the best player in this draft. He's the best player. I think the second best player is Caleb Downs. I think he's the second best player in this draft. Here's why that matters. Jeremiah Love went to Notre Dame. He was a Heisman Trophy finalist. A guy, I mean, he's been rock solid since he's been there. And what he's doing for the running back position, Smitty, that's the position that we don't talk about enough that gets left behind. Everybody say, "Oh, you can get quality backs in the latter rounds." Yeah, well, if you got a talent like Jeremiah Love, you go ahead and snatch him. I think he's the number 1 player in the draft, even though he won't go number 1 overall. If you're looking for a safety that you can just plug him right now into your defense, and he can do anything you need him to, that's Caleb Downs. I mean, this guy is about as rock solid of a football player. Can cover, can hit. He's a for sure tackler. He's a born leader, and he's a guy that you want to have. Shout out to Gwinnett County, Georgia. They play some big time football up there. It is a breeding ground for talent. You mentioned Sonny Styles. They say Sonny Styles might have had the greatest combine of any player. 43.5-inch vert. You're talking about 4.46 in the 40. I think he had 11-foot broad jump. He did it all. Here's what scares me about, Sonny Styles. Here it is, Smitty. Okay, we got this hybrid linebacker, right? Played at Ohio State, as well as his brother Lorenzo Styles Sr., who ran a 4.27 at safety, which is crazy. The Styles, I think their mom was in the stands. The expectation, I'm going to tell you a guy who reminds me of Sonny Styles. I hope do you remember Isaiah Simmons out of Clemson?
He's currently on the Panthers.
Okay, but you see, Sonny reminds me, like, now obviously Isaiah played safety at Clemson because they had, Dexter Lawrence and Christian Wilkins, Cleveland Farrell. They had them everywhere. The thing about Sonny Styles is I would always ask, I say, okay, he's super duper athletic. Guess who else is? Yeah, them tight ends, them running backs. He's gonna have to cover receivers in the slot. And I'm not saying he can't do it, but I do think that as far as like putting on a show, the Styles brother is all. Listen, Styles wins fights, baby, and they was out there getting it in. I mean, they were. Bain is gonna go extremely high. Bain is a man. He's a man child. He's a guy that, and I mean disrespectfully now, he has Derrick Brown ability. He has that type of ability to be a disruptor in the middle. And when people say, well, Ben, who's Derrick Brown? Please. Derrick Brown, the fact that he didn't make a Pro Bowl, that just bothers me so much because we don't appreciate the type of player he is, the type of impact that he has, the type of leader that he is. I think Bain, in the right system, is going to be a disruptor from day one. Because the thing about the D tackle position or the 3 technique position, Smitty, it's like, look, it's me and these guards and these centers. I mean, it's getting off, stopping the run on the way to the pass, new line of scrimmage. And what's the other defensive end name for Miami?
Akeem Mesidor.
I like Akeem. I will say this about Akeem, though. I think
I'm going to say it now. He is someone to watch at 19 for the Panthers if he's not.
I mean, with Akeem, right? I would want to see how he looks at his pro day because guys that have to play on the outside, you getting the most athletic. You're the most athletic defensive lineman, even though you're defensive lineman. We more like talking about the guys on the inside, like the Jeffrey Simmons, the Cam Haywards, the Derek Browns. But you're finna get these tackles that don't give up a lot of sacks. That's why double-digit sacks on some of these tackles. I mean, you talking about the Lane Johnson of the world, the Penei Sewells of the world. These guys, man, they can put them out there on the island and just go out there and run their offense. So I will be intrigued to see your Panthers picking at 19 because you right there are kind of like, you ain't high, you ain't high or low. You kind of like both. And we want to see if, Dan Morgan, what does he do? He stay at 19 or do we see a player he can move up? Do he stay? I mean, I think it's going to be intriguing to see, but you definitely going to have, when it comes to the D linemen, linebackers, safeties, corners, you got a lot of guys to choose from. You got a lot of guys that going to have first round, second round talent that you're going to probably be able to get in the latter rounds, Smitty. And that's the draft, right? The draft is, yes, everybody see who the first round is because it takes, 12 hours to do 32 picks. It takes freaking forever to get these picks in. They go down to but I think when you start talking about value, you got some value all throughout the. And look, we get it. You got the Styles brothers, you got Bain, you got Caleb Downs, you got the usual suspects of players. But that's not who end up becoming the big names out these drafts. It be the guys that's going in rounds, 4 through 7, the Richard Shermans of the world, for those you don't know. But Caleb Downs, he could do no wrong. The Styles brothers put on the show. You mentioned Bain and those guys. You mentioned some of those you got the quarterback from Arkansas running like 4.39. Taylor
Green. Someone's going to draft him in a later round and be pretty happy about that one.
I mean, I will say this. The goal of the draft is to find gems and to say, hey, man, we got this dude. I think he's good. Everybody in the NFL draft is a project. I don't care if you go number 1 or Mr. Irrelevant. Because they're coming out of college. You're gonna break them down to build them back up. You're gonna give them some plays, you're gonna give them a scheme, you're gonna be on the team. If the team has good culture, that's gonna help. If the team has no culture, they won't build it. Rookies aren't building cultures. And if you're looking for them to do that, shame on you. No, I'm supposed to come into a culture, or at least something that's being built. I should be adding bricks. I should be coming in, with the concrete and the bricks on my truck saying, hey, man, I'm finna build this building. No. Because Bryce Young is benefiting from a culture being built. You see what happens? Culture means the quarterback don't have to do it all. That's all it means. He don't got to do it all. Now, when I need him to be him, he got to show up. But sometimes I just need him to not mess it up. That's culture. Ask Brock Purdy. Ask him. Ask him what coach has done for him since he's been the same. People have forgotten we talk about Brock Purdy like he was the last pick in the draft. I couldn't tell you who was Mr. Irrelevant for no draft because most of the time they don't make the team. This guy done re-signed. He re-signed in 2025 for, $200 million, whatever he got. So the combine, this was the greatest combine ever as far as how everybody tested. Smitty, here's another guy, Sadiq. Tight end out of Oregon. 6'3", 245.
That's your position, so go ahead and
talk
about it.
I will say this about Sadiq. Beware of the freakish athlete that played tight end. I'm going to tell you why. He's got to go somewhere that they're going to coach him hard. And this is why I say this. Vernon Davis is the only tight end I can remember that ever broke in the – tight ends don't run 4.3s. Okay? Now, what am I saying? Nobody really runs 4.3s. I don't care what position. But I think for a guy like Sadiq, I think he's a very, very intriguing prospect. I think he's a guy, Smitty. A lot of people are going to be looking at that pro day. He's not going to test anymore to see, okay, how does he look running routes? How smooth is he? Is he, and I say this, is he more athlete than football player? Or he's an athlete that plays football. They are not mutually exclusive. Because sometimes the guys are so athletic. But Smitty, you know this. I'm gonna give you a name. Super duper athletic. It just hasn't Xavier Legette. Super athletic, right? Rides horses in his offseason, probably ride horses. I don't know where he live at in Charlotte, but he probably got a horse. I need your athleticism and your play to collide because I know he can run, but he got to be able to get out the jam. I know he's a mismatch, but he got to want it. No. I need him jumping off the gate. The best tight end in football right now, and I mean this humbly, the best pass catcher tight end in football right now is Trey McBride. And no one cares because he plays for the Cardinals. I mean, think about it. Think about it, Smitty. And isn't that crazy? I'm a first-team All-Pro, and nobody cares. Everybody cares that Kyle Pitts became a second-team All-Pro because it proved that, okay, he's got it in him. He's got a franchise tag. I want freakish athletes who can look like that on Sunday. If I'm not going to look like that on Sunday, like, think about this, Smitty. And that's what we don't say is like, okay, what if – here's the thing. If I'm 4.39 and I can't run by nobody. Yeah. Think about this. I can't run by these safeties. I'm getting, the slot. So I love Sadiq. And the guys, I think he's only like 20 years old, too. He ain't even 21 yet. So, yeah, if y'all do get him, though, see, if y'all get Sadiq, if he's still there.
I don't think we're going to. I really think Panthers, we'll get into that more as we look to the draft. We'll have some draft experts on. We'll talk about all positions at will. But, yeah. No, I think the Panthers are either going to go interior defensive line, edge rusher, or offensive tackle. One of those three, something like that.
Oh, hold on. What was the defensive tackle? Put on a show.
Yeah, let me. We'll go. That was the last position I was going to highlight real quick before we get into some other topics. So defensive tackle, we've got a variety of those this year. This draft is very deep. You got guys like Peter Woods, Caleb Banks from Clemson in Florida. You got guys like Malachi Lawrence. Yeah, Zion Young from Missouri. I mean, there are guys out here. This is a very deep edge and a defensive tackle draft. So there's going to be a lot of guys. But Peter Woods, Clemson, Caleb Banks, Florida, those are the two guys who didn't have the best year necessarily for their teams. But if they check out, those two teams, whoever drafts those two guys are going to be getting a steal.
Dude, Peter Woods, 20 years old, man, Greensboro, Alabama. Here's the thing, right? Okay, you got two totally different guys, though. Peter Woods, 6'2", 298. 6'2". I don't know how long his arms is. Caleb Banks is like 6'6". Do you like the tall, thick guy? Well, he's tall, but like Peter Woods, I mean, he's 6'2". Or do you want the 6'6" D tackle that, the long arm guy? Which one would you prefer? Because Derek Brown is kind of like 6'4". So I remember when D tackle was barely 6 feet. These dudes, Chris Jones is 6'7" at D tackle.
It's a risk. But give me Caleb Banks. I would take Caleb Banks of the two. It's a risk.
Caleb was hurt a lot this year. He really showed out at the Senior Bowl. Couldn't nobody block him. I will say this about Caleb Banks, and I know y'all got Cam Jackson in 2025. I'm thinking like round 4 or 5.
Correct. Yep. He'll be playing more this year.
If a guy like Caleb Banks goes to the Panthers, and he really learns from Derek Brown, it could get real ugly. I mean, because once again, I don't understand. I don't understand the Derek Brown disrespect. I don't get it. Like, what do Bollinger and all those guys be like breaking down tape showing like this dude are you seeing what he's doing with these double teams? Like it's embarrassing how good he is. But that's what happens when your team hasn't been good and you're not coming from a big media market in a division that was really the Bucks and everybody else. Now here come the Panthers. So I think that a guy like Caleb Banks can benefit from they could both benefit from each other because 6'4", I think Caleb Banks like 6'6", about 330. I mean, he's a big dude. We'll see if those guys. I think y'all are going more interior D linemen because y'all trying to free up some of these so these linebackers just run around and make plays. We'll see.
For our last 15 minutes or so, like I said, we're going to have on some guys, draft experts, guys who are going to break down all the different positions and all the different guys to watch as we get closer to Pittsburgh in April. Let's talk about, for the last 15 minutes or so, guys, free agents, quarterbacks, and guys that we think might be on the move for some of these different teams. Let's start with Arizona. Kyler Murray most likely is going to get cut or traded by the Cardinals. Don't think anyone's going to pick up that contract, so cut is more likely. One, where do you think he's going to go? And two, who do you think the Cardinals are going to have to replace him? Is it Jacoby Brissett, or is it going to be somebody else?
I do think they should give Jacoby Brissett a legitimate shot to be the starter with what he was able to do last year. I think that Kyler Murray got New York Jets written all over him. I think he's going to be with the New York Jets.
I was going to say that, yeah.
I think he's a guy that deserves to be in a big, in a big media market like New York, for a guy who Aaron Glenn, who just, Tyrod Taylor, Justin Fields. I need a solid number one. Wilson is going to benefit from a guy like Kyler Murray. Here's the thing about Kyler Murray that we always say. Is Kyler Murray ready for the big times? Like, is he ready? He hasn't had a bad career statistically. He just don't win no games. So we'll see. But yeah, I think Kyler Murray. Now here's something to think about with Kyler Murray, which I know we're going to get to this guy. If Tua is going to be on the move like they say he is, he's going to get a call from the 305. I think that Miami gives him a call because, once again, he is not devoid of talent. It is consistency. And sometimes that has less to do with his ability and more to do with the lack of, he had a good team since he's been there. He done had DeAndre Hopkins. I think he done had A.J. Brown. I guess he had Marvin Harrison Jr. I guess. I really don't know if that was a benefit or not. But I say Jets 1, Miami 2. And it's gonna be some other teams might give him a ring.
Yeah.
I've heard this too now. I know you told me about Tua to Atlanta. I've heard Kyler Murray to Atlanta as well. When you start talking about Bijan and Kyle Pitts and Drake London and adding another free agent, I think a guy like Kyler Murray in a dome could get scary. I got Jets number one. I got Jets first.
Yeah. Let's talk about Tua. We'll go there. Tua Tagovailoa most likely will be released. Again, like Kyler, no one's going to be picking up that contract. Where do you see Tua going? Is it a backup? Is it a starter? And then maybe a guy like Malik Willis coming down to Miami with the two guys from Green Bay who know him very well. If he doesn't go to Arizona, I think it's going to be Arizona or Miami for Malik Willis.
Malik Willis is an intriguing one. It just didn't work out at Tennessee. You look at what he's had some quality starts. When Love wasn't able to get in for Green Bay, I think his first start was against the Titans, if I'm not mistaken. I can see him going to Arizona to compete with Jacoby Brissett or maybe Miami. I think a guy like Tua needs a change. Tua definitely needs a change of scenery. Brian Flores, Mike McDaniel, Tyreek Hill, just the press conferences, the players only meetings, just a bunch of craziness going. And they actually started winning when Tyreek Hill got hurt. It's weird. I think Tua goes to a place like Atlanta. The only thing scares me about Atlanta is Kevin Stefanski. Has Kevin Stefanski learned, from his mistakes with what he didn't do with Shador? Is he going to be giving out real real wristbands, not fake ones? And does Matt Ryan help being in the building? I know he's the president of operations. Does he help any quarterback that comes in the building? Is that another reason why they brought him in? Because whatever quarterback they bring in, can he help? I don't know. Because I don't see how a guy that doesn't have any front office experience, any coaching experience, anything that have to do with players and draft picks and operations, now he's over it all. Obviously, Arthur Blank loved him. Arthur Blank also loved Arthur Smith, who his daddy and Arthur Blank was like best friends. See how that turned out. I think Tua, Atlanta, yes. Maybe Arizona. I don't know. But I definitely think Atlanta gonna give him a call first because you're giving him an offense, you're giving him a dome, so perfect weather conditions, with a first-team All-Pro running back, a second-team All-Pro tight end, a Pro Bowl caliber receiver in Drake London, an offensive line led by Jake Matthews, a new offensive scheme, essentially a new team in the NFC South that if you can find a way to be competitive with Carolina, find a way to split with Buffalo, with the Bucks, you got a shot to be potentially in the playoffs. I'm not saying that's gonna happen. I'm saying that's their path to success. But yeah, if Tua is wearing, and I heard that April 2nd, my Falcons is getting new uniforms, they better look good for all this weight. They better look good. We'll see.
Yeah, as far as my Panthers, the rumor is they're going to be playing in the Hall of Fame game against opponent unknown. But Luke Kuechly, Ohio native, going in for the first time, the first Carolina Panther for his whole career at the Hall of Fame. Haven't played in the Hall of Fame game since 1995, so it kind of makes sense. Panthers are long overdue for the Hall of Fame game. Just a rumor there, not confirmed. These last set of quarterbacks, for the second time, I'm just going to lump them all in together, and you don't have to give them a destination. Just kind of these quarterbacks rumored to be headed elsewhere. Falcons are going to release Kirk Cousins at the start of the year. He'll be going somewhere else. Geno Smith may or may not be going for the Raiders. Maybe he'll back up Mendoza, or maybe he goes to a place like Minnesota. Andy Dalton for the Panthers, most likely going to be moving on in a cut. And then those are the ones that I had off the top of my head as I looked through my notes here. But is there any other quarterbacks that you think might be on the move, or anyone that I left out?
Jimmy Garoppolo. Somebody might.
Oh, yeah, that's the other one. Yeah,
Jimmy Garoppolo might be on the move. I forgot about Minnesota. Minnesota's a mess, so they're gonna have to get a quarterback in there. Geno Smith going to a place like Minnesota, compete against JJ McCarthy makes sense. Mac Jones, I've heard some rumblings about him.
I think he's gonna stay. That's
it just depends. It depends on what they offer Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch. I mean, if you can get some draft picks, he'll definitely be on the move. Andy Dalton is benefiting from these older quarterbacks still having life. The Joe Flacco's of the world, the Kirk Cousins of the world, the Phillip Rivers of the world, and they're fill-ins. And I blame.
Does he go to Kansas City? Backs up Mahomes if he's not
ready. No, I'm gonna tell you who's gonna be on the move. Anthony Richardson is gonna be on the move. He asked to be traded. I can see him being a Carolina. I can see him being a Kansas City Chief. He's already put out there. He want to learn behind Patrick Mahomes. Hey, you talk about a player in waiting, learning from a guy like that to say, hey man, I know you got feet, but they pay you to throw the ball, not to run the ball. And when you do run the ball, they want you to get first downs and touchdowns, not run, don't get a first down, take yourself out the game, and after the game, they say, why you took yourself out? You say, I was tired. Anthony Richardson is 23 years old, people. He's still – I think Fernando Mendoza and Carson Beck is older than Anthony Richardson. And he's in the NFL. So I think he's learned a lot from his time in Indy. But that's another destination spot. I think they're going to give Daniel Jones a contract extension, Smitty. But the jury's still out on him because he had a good first part of the year and just fell off. So does he have staying power? So you talking about backup destinations? Definitely Green Bay because if Malik Willis is moving on. Definitely out there in Oakland if they're gonna have Fernando Mendoza. You talk JJ McCarthy, whoever go there, they're gonna give the Daniel Jones treatment. Say, I think I could beat that dude out. Whoever goes to Minnesota thinking I could be the starter, because they was even talking about where would they have been if they would have kept Sam Darnold. Would they have been in the Super Bowl or have made a Super Bowl alone? But yeah, Jimmy Garoppolo, Andy Dalton, Geno Smith, Kyler Murray, as we mentioned earlier. Anthony Richardson is going to probably be the most highly sought after one of that group because he's the youngest. And now if you saw that clip that went viral, the Minnesota coach O'Connell, he really likes Anthony Richardson.
Oh yeah.
That could be a destination in Minnesota.
Yeah. Running backs, we've got a plethora on the move or maybe tagged. Kenneth Walker, Seattle Seahawks Super Bowl MVP. We'll see about that one. It sounds like for the right price he might be back, but he might be moving on. And again, for the sake of time, I'm going to group all these guys together. Breece Hall for the Jets sounds like he's going to get transition tagged. You don't see that too often. Rico Dowdle here in Carolina, most likely going to be on the move somewhere else. Tyler Algier for your Falcons, likely on the move somewhere else. Who else am I forgetting on the running back train?
Alvin Kamara might be on the move. Because I think that's a lot of money towards the cap. I'm trying to think about these running backs that might be on the move. I mean, I think Kenneth Walker is very intriguing because I think he has.
Travis Etienne's the other one from Jacksonville.
Whoa! Now see Jacksonville. See.
I knew I was forgetting.
I don't understand the Etienne one because he's been he's been what Brian Thomas has not been, consistent. Yes, he got hurt his rookie year, has had like either right 1,000 yards or over 1,000 yards since he got hurt. Very, very consistent. They need to find a way to bring that young man back because Tank Bigsby, who was there, ended up over there with the Eagles. But yeah, if Etienne's out there now, Chuba Hubbard, I know he's going to be the starter because of how much money y'all paying him. But for Etienne, his brother. Trevor.
His brother is there. And then Jonathan Brooks is coming back as well, former Texas.
Algier, hopefully the Titans, hopefully the freaking Falcons find a way to bring him back because Bijan Robinson, for as great as he is, being fresh because you got a guy like Algier's coming in, but Alvin Kamara is going to be intriguing. You mentioned Kenneth Walker. Kenneth Walker, he's a really, really good player, but sometimes that system is benefiting you more than the player itself. We'll see because the running back market isn't what it used to be. Guys are getting paid. You got the Christian McCaffreys of the world. You got the Jameer Gibbs of the world. You got the Bijan Robinson, the Christian McCaffrey. But I think the guys like Christian McCaffrey and Bijan Robinson has hurt the running back position because they want guys. And for those who don't know, Bijan Robinson was the first team All-Pro running back. C-Mac was the first team All-Pro all-purpose. Bijan Robinson was a second team all-purpose back, and freaking Christian McCaffrey was second team all-pro running back. So you got the same guys flipping. That type of production is what you want out of a running back, but I think you got to have that caliber of player. But we'll see. I will be watching to see what these running backs end
up. Two more position battles, or I guess positions to get to. DJ Moore, receiver for the Bears, potentially could be on the move in a trade. Might be released there. You got a couple guys who are free agent.
Do you want the reunion, Smitty? Tell the truth.
It would be nice, but I don't think it's going to happen. That's my answer. And then you got guys like Alex Pierce for the Colts, Romeo Dobbs for the Packers, obviously Rashid Shaheed for the Seahawks. Just some of the names that are out there. So a lot of receivers could be on the move. Some of these guys finding new homes this offseason.
The receiver position is going to be red hot, and the reason why it's going to be red hot is I think like you look at what Ted McMillan did last year.
Oh, and Mike Evans, that's the other one I forgot.
Now Mike Evans is probably going to be the most intriguing one because of what he's demanding. Here's the thing about Mike Evans that somebody going to have to tell him. Listen, on the movie Moneyball, when David Justice goes up, he said, he's playing David Justice. Brad Pitt tells him, I'm not paying you for the player you were. I'm paying you for the player you have left. The player that's still left in you. He said, nah, man, I'm not paying you for $1 million. I'm paying you $2 million. The Yankees are paying $2 million for you to play against them. If you are Mike Evans, he says he wants to go to a contender. Carolina, check. He wants to play with a quarterback, that's been to the playoffs, check, or can make a deep playoff run, check. But the last demand is I want to make sure I'm going to get my touches. What do you mean get your touches? Like, how many throws are we talking about? Now, Mike Evans seems to be he's a volume guy as far as throws. He catches most of these balls now. Smitty, once again, the league is going to catch up. J.C. Horn. I think training camp would be great with him and J.C. Horn going at it. But I think DJ Moore is going to be intriguing. Rashid Shaheed. He's fast, but how good of a receiver is he? Mike Evans and DJ Moore, I think you give them a call because they know how to get open. They played for big-time teams. One played in the big-time market in Chicago. And you talk about Mike Evans, who's been a lifer for the Bucs. I want to see some other receivers who might come on the market. Right now we ain't really, they're trying to keep it under wraps. Where's Brandon Ayuk? Where is he?
I'm not touching that one. I don't know.
I'm just saying, where is he at? I'm just saying.
And then tight end, I forgot about tight end. I almost skipped over your position. I'm sorry about that, buddy. Cade Otton for the Bucs, free agent. Kyle Pitts going to be tagged for your Falcons. George Pickens going to be tagged for receiver. Forgot about him. And then you've got guys like who was I gonna say? Yeah, those are the main tight ends, though. Real quick on the tight ends. Yeah, K. Dot and Kyle Pitts, Isaiah Likely. Those are kind of your three tight ends right now.
I will say this. All right, Carolina. You want to really come to the big time? What did Isaiah Likely play in college? Coastal Carolina, right?
I think K. Dotton is going to cost less, so I think he's going to be our first option. I think Isaiah would.
Well, I like K. Dotton, Mr. No Gloves himself. He don't want no gloves. He's very very dependable for the Bucks. But here's the thing: every time you try to go cheap, right? Yes, you can get a quality play. Isaiah Likely was a starter. He just played behind Mark Andrews. He has been the best number 2 tight end since he got drafted. If you are Dan Morgan and company, you're saying to yourself, dude, I mean, if he could be our number 2, it could be Ted at 1, him at 2, Coker / Leggett at 3. You add your running back to go along with Chubb. You in business, because the thing about Isaiah Likely is, number one, he's a real good teammate, because Mark Andrews got an extension this offseason, and he was like, man, I'm happy for my teammate. But he also knew, look, man, I'm not going to be here, but I appreciate Harbaugh and, Monk and all those guys giving me an opportunity. I think he would be because what's y'all starting name? Tremble, what's his name?
Yeah, so Panthers really have 4 guys right now. Tommy Tremble, Mitchell Evans, who's a second-year player out of Notre Dame, from last year. Jatavian Sanders going into his 3rd year out of Texas, and then, or actually, I guess 3. So those are the top 3 tight ends. Yeah,
I think Isaiah Likely, you give him a call, because here's what do you always say every time the Carolina Panthers going up against a team that got a good tight end? We don't cover the tight end well. We don't cover the tight end well. You want to have a tight end is going to be the quickest mismatch if he has any level of athletic ability, because they're not putting a safety over the top of him. They're not playing. They're not doubling him. So Isaiah Likely played his college ball in Carolina, right over there in Conway, aka Myrtle Beach. And then you want to be able to, and when we say how much he's going to cost, he's not going to get Trey McBride money. Now, he ain't getting that. I don't think he's getting George Kittle money, but you're going to have to pay him, because tight ends get paid like big-time receivers now, which is what they are. They're just big receivers. They can put their hand in the ground. So we'll see.
And then finally, let's go to the defensive side of the ball. We're going to group everybody together. Max Crosby is the guy on that side of the ball. Will he go out of Las Vegas, or will he stay there? Some other names to watch on the defensive side of the ball: Trey Hendrickson, edge rusher; Jalen Phillips, edge rusher;
Woo!
Devin Lloyd, linebacker; Adofe Owa, defensive end; Boye Mafe from the Seahawks. You've got Jamel Dean from the Bucks, corner. You've got John Franklin Myers from the Broncos. Brian Cook, safety for the Chiefs. I mean, I can keep going. Jalen Watson for the Chiefs. Kwity Paye for the Colts. Alontae Taylor for the Saints. Kadavion Chason for the Patriots. Hayden Allen for your Falcons. I mean, this Kobe.
Right now, Smitty, is something we talked about a couple of years ago. You got to pick guys that fit your scheme, not guys that got that still got some juice left in the tank. Guys that fit your scheme. Guys like Kwity Paye, Devin Lloyd. I know we talked about him before the show. Be on the lookout for Marshawn Lattimore. I'm telling you, this is a guy, feisty guy, NFC South guy. People remember him the most of his time with the Saints. Then he went over to the Commanders. Max
Quay Walker and 2 more. I can keep going.
Oh, now Quay Walker former Georgia Bulldog and Green Bay Packer. Now he would be a nice pickup for any team, because he's an off the ball linebacker that can cover, that can run your defense. You can play it frigid. You can play it if you can play in frigid temperatures like Green Bay. Oh yeah, and then you playing for those type of franchise who understand how much pressure you're under. You're gonna have some talented guys that's going to hit the market. And there are going to be some guys that's making a bunch of money that's going to hit the market, because they're going to say, look, we thought you was going to work out. Hendrickson is – I don't get it. 34 sacks in 2 years, first team All-Pro 2 years. They gave him a 1-year extension. Does somebody come out there? Because I believe what Cincinnati would want, Cincinnati would want like first-round people. I'm not giving you first-round picks for no Trent. I'm not giving you first-round picks. I might give you a second and a fourth. I'm not giving you a second and a third. A second and a fifth, maybe. Hendrickson is very, very is a very, very intriguing. I think he's really, 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 really good, but not really, really good outside of nothing. The reality of it is he's really, really good in Cincinnati. The perception of it is he's not that good outside. People like, he's good, but and Max Crosby, they're gonna want 40 acres and 30 mules for that dude. It's gonna be hard to give up what you got to give up for him. 3 first rounds. I'm not. Look,
yeah, that's gonna be tough.
I give up first round picks. Well, unless I'm the Colts, I give up 2 first round picks or whatever they gave up for freaking Sauce Gardner. They regret that right now. They ain't saying out loud, but they are regretting that trade.
Yeah. Yeah, and again, this list there's a lot of guys on this list, like you said. Cam Curl, underrated safety for the Rams, is going to be out there. Juwan Jennings, receiver for the 49ers, everyone's favorite instigator.
Whoa. Now, he got Carolina Panthers written all over him.
No. We don't. No.
He's not getting the $20 million that he want a year.
Trayvon Morwig, the safety for Carolina, and him will that ain't happening. I'm sorry.
Oh no. Let me tell y'all something. Let me tell y'all something about this fake beef. It's fake. I'm gonna tell you why. As soon as they become teammates, man, they'll end up having a freaking podcast together. But I tell you what, you and Morwig, y'all come on win the division, man, because y'all know squash the beef. It'll be cool. It's all good.
Okay, all right. We'll see what happens, though. A lot of free agency to get to over the next few weeks. League year starts next week officially. It's going to be great. Ben, I wanted to wrap up the show kind of as we kind of close out here. What are you kind of looking forward to now? Combine's over. The draft's still about a month and a half away. Yeah. This is considered like the quote-unquote dead time in the NFL. But as we know, free agency is right around the corner. And a lot of teams are restructuring their cap, releasing, trading. So Combine's over. Draft's a little bit of down the road. What is the current theme of these teams right now? What is, I mean, I'm talking about coaches, general managers. What are they doing right now as they get prepared for the draft and kind of cutting their salaries in their books?
Oh man, the 3 P's, man. Position and preparation and pro days. That's what's going on right now. They position their team. They're preparing these front offices to be able to go out there. This is when the scouts really show what they do. They do it throughout the course of the year, but that's what position it comes. They prepare these guys to really get out there and say, okay, let's get these final grades in and pro days, because Fernando Mendoza is going to be the most highly sought after pro day you've ever seen, because pro day means you at home. It's like, Smitty, I don't know if you had a basketball goal growing up at your house, but couldn't nobody beat you at your house. You can make shots at your house you won't make in the gym because you shoot on this goal all the time. I can do trick shots. I want to see the pro days. And I want to see how these teams are really positioning their team. Like, let's look at these free agents. Let's go get the right fit for what we're trying to get done, not a good fit that might not fit when the regular season comes. Give me a guy who, yes, they want their money, but you got to work them numbers and preparation, because the best teams are the best teams because of how they prepare, how they position. That's why they're the best teams. And the worst teams are the worst teams because they don't prepare, they don't position themselves. And who's gonna underspend and overdeliver, and who's gonna overspend and underdeliver? That's gonna happen. That is going to happen. And Smitty, here's the biggest thing: what big time names are gonna hit the free agent market because of their salary? It's gonna happen. They're waiting for it, but once the first one, it's gonna be a trickle effect. It's gonna snowball. I'm going to be watching. The downtime, there really isn't no downtime in the National Football League, because you have to do 2 things. You got to watch what your team, 3 things. You got to watch what your team does. You got to watch what your division rivals do. And you got to watch what your side, what conference, what NFC, AFC is doing. If you were a playoff team, which Carolina hasn't been here in a long time, you cannot, will not, shall not take a step back. You don't want to, because taking steps back means you might not end up in this position anymore. Okay, you won the division. 3 teams tied for first place. A 3-way tie for first. You won it, regardless of how you won it. Can you improve? Can you keep pressure on the Bucks? Can you keep the Falcons, and can you make sure the New Orleans Saints are bottom feeders? You only do that with how you position your team, how you prepare your team, and how these pro days go out. And then you talk about the draft. So I will be watching. I will be very intrigued to see.
I cannot believe I almost forgot to do this, and I know you were going to let me know it afterwards.
Oh, so yeah. Oh, your boy.
Let's end on this. A lot of receivers in this draft coming up. A lot of guys with a lot of stories out there. But Ben, let's end on this. It's a bigger than football as well for you.
Yeah.
JC Concepcion of NC State University, now Texas A&M University. I'll let you take it from here. You saw a clip of him this current week, and you had some words to say on the old X machine, and this hits close to home for you.
It does hit close to home for me because this is a young man that obviously has a speech impediment, and he's standing up in front of those cameras. He's answering those questions, and everything is quick. Everything is coming at him fast, and he's trying to answer them as quick as they come in. And obviously, his speech impediment took over. He's not trying to run from it. He's showing a lot of courage, standing up in front of those cameras, but then he had to deal with the social media bullying, the hate. I respect this young man so much. For him to have to put out an Instagram post saying, look, I realize I got a speech impediment, but I'm speaking for the voiceless. I'm trying to be a role model. No, you are a role model. If everybody got something to say to this young man, shame on you. Like, what type of society are we that a person who has something that they cannot control is getting, ridiculed for it, criticized for it? What are we doing? Like, so the biggest press conferences of his life so we can poke fun at him. That's not funny. It's never going to be funny. A person who has something, male or female, something they cannot control, we're supposed to celebrate them for still not letting that stop them from standing in front. Because when I went through the combine, training for the combine back in 2004 down there with Tom Shaw in Kenton, Louisiana, which ain't nothing but New Orleans, Louisiana, we did more interview prep than actual prep, than doing the bench, or then doing the air drill, or doing the 40. Why? Because that's where you sell yourself.
Right.
And KC, big fan, gonna be rooting for you. Don't let the criticism deter you. Keep going out there, because for the young, there are a lot of people with speech impediments, by the way, who they do their best to not have to, speak in front of crowds, speak in front of people. Well, how can he say no? And he did it. And whoever encouraged him to go out there and do it, I commend you as well. But to the people that got something to say, man, get a life, man. It just really, really bothers me that we finally get to hear this young man, the biggest interview of his life. He's prepared his whole life for this. Then to have to, see all the memes, all the criticism. But I like the fact that he stood up to it. I hope he continues. And whatever business organization that's going to stand next to this young man as a partner or a sponsor, I commend you as well, because you got to put a face to it. If you get to be the face to it, so be it. So be it.
Yeah. Just saying, he might look good in Carolina blue. Just saying, hometown Sky, speedster. I can't teach speed. He is going to be someone who is going to be definitely making his impact at the NFL level. That is for sure. Well, we'll continue to go into free agency trades that happen. We'll have some special guests as the offseason keeps going on. The draft gets closer in Pittsburgh coming up in mid-April. This has been Winning the Division, episode number 92 with Ben Troupe and myself. As we say here on Winning the Division, you are either winning your division or you were just in the division. Rate, review, and subscribe wherever you get your podcast. Keep on the Podcast Network, Fans First Sports Network. Website's coming up soon. Look out for that. Our website launching pretty soon. You'll see that coming up. And youtube.com/Tobacco Radio, the video portion of this podcast. Look out for the episodes every week. Me and Ben right here on Winning the Division.